Joining us right now is House Financial Services Committee member, Texas Congressman Roger Williams. Congressman Williams, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
So what do you think? Should lawmakers be tying immigration to supporting the country's farmers?
Well, I think we should address the immigration issue months back, quite frankly. But I'm ready to vote on an immigration bill. I like the Goodlatte bill. But at the same time, we've got a farm bill, and they should be probably separate. If one should come ahead of the other, that's anybody's call. I'd be ready to go either way. But we need to move on. We need to get the farm bill voted on, and we need to get immigration going. The president's asked us to do that as long as it goes March 6th.
Well, can you explain the holdup on immigration?
Well, I mean, I really can't. We've got a Goodlatte bill out there that I like. I think a majority of our members like, and there, of course, there's other issues. But I think that it gets back to the 218 votes that we talk about all the time. But I do think we need to put something on the floor and see what kind of response it can get. And if they want to do it now, I'm for it. And let's move on with it.
Congressman, it's been reported that Russia has been selling soybeans to China because of all the trade noise out there. Are these issues all sort of getting merged together and making it more impossible to get legislation through because something as simple as the Farm Bill or something as simple as an immigration bill somehow has gotten tied to all of these other issues?
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on, and I think, in business, I'm a business guy. I try to keep everything in a different box, and we need to take the box as it comes up. We got to deal with the Farm Bill. We got to deal with immigration. We got to deal with trade. That's what we're up here to do. And I think that we shouldn't make it hard. Let's go after each one individually, and let's come up with a solution.
So we just had Mark Penn on, and he was talking about the #1 issue for Americans is health care right now, according to polls. And he was talking about how Congress hasn't delivered a health care fix. And then was also a big deal for immigration. That's another thing. Are we going to get these big issues done going into the midterms?
Well, I would hope so, but I would say that I don't know if health care is the biggest issue out there. What I have found is the biggest issue out there is the economy. People are excited about the economy. They're excited about tax reform. They're excited about getting more money in their paychecks. We're seeing businesses grow. We're seeing more cash flow come into our country than we've seen in the past. So I think, yes, we need to address those. Those are serious issues. But the economy, I believe, is what's driving America right now.
Congressman, we got to... Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, with respect, Congressman, health care is a financial issue. It's an economic issue because right when people go to the polls in November, the month prior, they're going to find out how much their premiums went up for their health insurance policies. So the more they pay, the harder that is on their family finances. So it is an economic issue.
Well, you're right. It is an economic issue. I just don't think
16% of the economy, of course, it's an economic issue.
There's no question about it, and we need to come up with a plan. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we started with the getting the individual mandate out of the economy, let people shop. We need to do things like shop across state lines, make it portable, make it tax deductible, and we do need to address these things. And I think that when we do that, then we've really got our economy cranking, and we're addressing the concerns that most people have.
Congressman, we want to get on to trade, in particular China. The second round of U.S.-China trade talks. Beijing is now denying this report that it is offering to cut the trade surplus with the U.S. by $200 billion. Congress working toward advancing a bill giving the U.S. more power to block sensitive business deals and investments between American and Chinese companies on national security grounds. But the Chinese want the national security issue off the table. Should the president be agreeing to this $200 billion in a cut in the Chinese surplus to get the national security issue off the table?
Well, national security is an important thing, and as you know, we're dealing with that in my committee. I think we need to be very careful that we do not, allow China and other countries to get our military secrets, our trade secrets, or anything else. So the president, I trust him in making the right kind of deal. And I think, though, we have to be very aware that China would like to get all our trade secrets, and in many cases they have, and it needs to be, and we need to be able to stop that.
I mean, haven't they already done that? They're transferring technology, forcing the transfer of American technology to Chinese companies. They're already the leader in a number of industries of the future, like blockchain technology or AI. And the Financial Services Committee has long resisted advancing this bill due to the opposition from business. So what's the word? Should your committee reconsider the position, given this uncertainty with China and the fact that we know that they've been stealing our IP for decades?
Well, that's why we're still debating it. We're going to have a markup this next week on it, and we've got it's got to be right. We still have debate going on, but we need to understand China is our competitor. China wants to defeat us, not necessarily militarily, but economically, and we need to protect ourselves from that.
But isn't it true that because they've made so many gains economically, they're actually now transferring that money to their military and bulking up their military? They've spent, they were the second spender on military right after the U.S. in the last couple of years.
Well, I think that's very true, and that's why we are addressing that, and that's why we need to address it. And there's, every day is a fresh day, and every day we need to begin to slow this down and understand that China, as I said earlier, is our competitor economically and militarily. And we need to be aware of that, and the president is.
A word on NAFTA. Obviously, no deal. This was a soft deadline for the president. What are you expecting out of these NAFTA talks, or are we not going to see a new NAFTA deal until after the midterms?
Well, that very well might happen. There's a lot happening, and of course, we get in the summertime. There's a lot backing up on our plate.
Not to mention the Mexico elections.
Well, exactly. And NAFTA, I'm from Texas. NAFTA has been a big benefit to Texas. I think we need to, any deal that's as old as NAFTA is, I think it certainly needs some tweaking, if you want to say that, some improvements. I don't want to do away with NAFTA, but I think we can make it better, and I think we can strengthen our economy with it.
So when might we see a deal, you think?
Well, I'm a doer. I'm a business guy. I'm ready to do it all right now. So I don't know. We have an election year coming up, and you all know what happens when people start running for election. Things slow down. So I'm ready to act on that also. We'll see what happens.
Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congressman Williams joining us there.